I do intros now, so you don't have to fucking go around the room and.
Okay.
You know, I think I don't like doing intros because I feel like it takes away if like we're talking right now, so it's just easier.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How's the whole Irod thing going? I mean, looks good on Instagram. A lot of people are using.
Yeah, no,
you
it's
know?
We've stepped it up, the Instagram.
Yeah.
We've had that page for 10 years, and I just too busy fishing and trying to run the company, and then it kind of dawned on me how important it is. So we've definitely stepped it up. It's fun. It's fun actually when you accept it. And then
I love that. When you accept, hey,
Yeah.
I gotta fucking do Instagram. This sucks, but I gotta do it.
I got to do it. And then you fight it for a little bit. You're like, I hate this.
Yep.
And then you start going, this is fun. You start interacting with people, and it's more positive than actually. There's no negative. It's, I love the messages you get. You're like, wow, I didn't realize I was affecting this many people over there.
Yeah.
So it's been a plus, and it's fun every morning to kind of come up with something.
Yeah. How long have you had the company now for?
It's going on 11 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been I know I can't even. It seems like so long ago.
It does, but it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
11 years ago, I'm like, man, that's not that long ago, but it is. You're getting old. You know. Do you have kids?
I don't.
You don't?
I don't.
Oh,
No,
wow.
I've been too selfish with my time.
Hey, that Irod right there is your kid, right? That's
It
your
is.
baby.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, it's all I do, really. I mean, between it's work and then I got a day to go fish.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty cool program.
But you're doing what you love. That's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's every day I get to sit in the office and talk fishing.
Yeah, right? I mean, what more do you want?
Yeah. You got to hear some redundant stories sometimes, but it's I'm blessed. Been very, very lucky.
Yeah.
But this worked out. I mean, it was a dream, a kind of like a let's try this.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked out really fast. I had a lot of help. Obviously I was fishing full time when I started, so all of the press guys I'd worked with really backed me that first year.
Yeah,
and that really launched the company.
That's
so
awesome.
I've been blessed.
And what do you do in the company, Ben? What's your position?
I do like sales and marketing, but I think he does a lot more of the marketing. I guess what I do is I watch day to day in and out of the stores, listen to things, come up with ideas. I mean, what we try to do is I've got a lot of knowledge from 35 years in the industry, and we try to figure out how some of the things might apply to Matt's business.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you got a lot of experience. I mean, I run into Ben probably a couple times a month or every other month because he's at performance or
wherever.
Yeah. Well, I'm just a performance slut. I'm always there. So, I always stop by and say hi. But yeah, I mean, and the one thing that I do love about Irod, I didn't buy Irod in the beginning, but I love Lou's reels.
Yeah.
And I love that combo.
It looks good,
dude,
doesn't it?
It
does
I
look
know
good.
which one he's talking about.
Dude,
too.
that well, this is the thing is I had my Lou's for this black one right here. It's not this one, but another one. I had it for 8 years. This pulled in a 7.5 calico from the beach. This is my surf reel, and I never serviced it. Now the paul's not working. That's it.
Wow.
I mean, I love them, dude. They're great reels, and they're like $80. I bought another one. I'm like nothing. You know
who makes those? We were talking about it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Just letting you know.
Who makes them?
A friend of mine makes them.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah. So the
They
thing
stopped
about them,
making the best reel though. They had that 300 size that's blue and white. It was a salt one.
yeah,
They
yeah.
don't make another 300 now?
But it was a certain salt one that was fucking
the best
bad.
reel that they make, if you really want to check it out, it's called the Super Duty 300.
That's a new one, right?
It's not that new, but people just passed
Probably
over it.
a couple years old.
They passed over it because it was the cheapest one. It was really a workhorse. It
I
was
checked-
$100 2 or 3 years ago. It's probably $179 now.
which is a great deal.
Yeah.
It reminds me of my love affair with the Cardiff. The
Oh
Cardiff
my God! Here we go. Here we go.
It's the cheapest reel Shimano make.
Is that what
And
you
it's-
use throwing big baits?
Yep.
Really?
And there's a reason. There's a reason. Our rods are light, and I hate putting on heavy reels. So,
Yeah.
and obviously I've been using that reel before our rods came around, but that reel is made of a quote cheaper metal. I don't know. It's like pot metal or something. It's really lightweight. So you hold it, you're like, it's cheap, it's light, it's probably gonna fall apart.
It's a cast reel. That's why it's so. That's why it's so light.
Yeah, and it's exactly, and it's a slow gear ratio, and there's only one other reel they make, and it's that Calcutta D. And only one of them, I think it's only the 400 or 300 is the only one with a low gear ratio. So that Cardiff, I bought probably 3 of them about whenever they came out, 18 years ago.
Yeah.
I still have them. I've never serviced them. And I fish swim baits.
That's
solid.
a big deal.
It's a big deal.
To say about a reel.
A cheap reel.
18 years and not servicing a cheap, like...
I got 6 of them, and they're all on my swim bait rods. They've never come off.
What kind of fish you caught on those reels?
Oh, I mean, everything. Tell me,
Size, like swim bait fish.
My biggest, it's frustrating because I've had clients where I've made the casts and I've handed them off, and I had a 17 and an 18
Oh my
for clients.
God.
So I can't call them mine, even though I swung on them and handed them. But I've had, my biggest is only 14. 14.
Okay.
So it does kind of irritate me a bit, but I've had, I mean, I've hundreds over 13.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it really wasn't that hard to find a teener.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard now. I struggle. I really do. But
Yeah.
you have to have that, I'm going to find the lake that has it, and I'm going to hit it hard nonstop. And those lakes are diminishing greatly right
Everything's
now.
up north, you think, right now?
I don't know. I don't fish the San Diego lakes, and I don't know if they're still getting trout or if what's left in those. I still see some pretty big ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, the northern lakes, it's the only way
Will you
to do
fish
it.
Diamond Valley?
I don't, and
No.
I've only fished it a few times, and the
really?
drive is it's an awkward drive.
It's for me, it's an hour and a half.
Oh, for me, it's 2.5, and it's that weird. Do I want to spend 2.5 to go there? I could just go another hour and be at the Delta or something. You know.
So you're from Thousand Oaks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I've just moved there about a year ago.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that Cardiff reel is it's cheap, and I can't say enough about them because they're low gear ratio. They don't break, and they're like $100.
Do they still make them?
Yeah. So
yeah, they do.
Paul, not overstepping, because I'm hearing things, but Paul was talking to someone from Shimano, and he was told that the reason they keep that reel in business is because of me and Paul. we have promoted it so hard for the last 10 years. He said that the reason it's still there is because we keep promoting it.
That's cool.
And I don't, people go, what do I get? Dude, just spend $100. You're set. Now, that's a HUD reel. I don't use it for my glide baits. You need a faster ratio. And I use 300 Corrados is what I use for all my glide bait stuff, all my braid bait stuff. But HUDs, it's a special setup. All my swim baits, they need to be round slow. And I still want them slow. I mean, that thing's a 5-to-1 or something really slow. And I take about 6 seconds to get the whole handle around when I'm fishing a full-size HUD.
That's some discipline right there.
It becomes, it started off as discipline where I literally had to count. And you're like, oh, I'm going too fast, slow down. And now it's just there. You look down and you're like, man, that finger is barely moving. But as soon as that combo goes under my arm and you grab that reel, it just, you're right there. You're like, oh. And you could be fishing a buzzbait or a jerkbait a minute before. But as soon as I pick that bait up, you're like, yeah, there it is. And it's just the butterflies.
Yeah.
It's hard to get it from anything else.
I guess that, I hate the saying, it sounds stupid, but the tug is the drug.
The bite, the boom.
Yeah.
That deep. I love glide bait fish because it's visual and it's, they're big ones. It's so fun. But ultimately, that deep thud. The HUDs are fun on the 5s. It's all epic. But the deep HUD, that's my jam right there.
Yeah.
And then winding it over, and I get lost. I've written articles about being the bait, and every time you cast it and you hit that first thing, and your head just goes, boo, what is he doing? And you can creep up the rock to rock, and I'm going to make him, there's a stick, and I don't like the sticks. You twitch it like he went, woo. You just get lost in the bait. And then when you get that bite, I always call out the bite before I swing sometimes. Oh, bit! And then I got to swing. And I don't care if it's a 4-pounder. That's the best. You can get a buzzbait fish that's 4 pounds. It's not as exciting. It's blow up. It's rad. It's visual.
Yeah.
That thump for me is where it's all that.
No, definitely. Now, when you started Irod, did you make specifically for swim bait fishing?
Yeah, that was the first thing I actually did. So I was sponsored by a company called Fig Rig, and they were a muskie company, and he approached me to help him build some signature rods for swim baits. And we did, and they worked pretty well. And then he was starting to get out of the business, and he said, let me help you start one. Which, I hadn't thought about that. And he goes, you do a whole line. I go, no one's going to buy a Matt Newman drop shot rod. So I decided just to make it a company, not based on me. I'm the owner, but it's not Matt Newman's signature or anything.
Yeah.
And swim baits were the first rods I had designed before, so I used those as I improved on the ones we'd built. And now we have, I think we got like 5 or 6 dedicated swim bait rods.
Wow.
From every action to multiple in the heavies with different tips. For a glide bait, you want a softer tip. I like a crisp tip for a deep Hud. So yeah, we've got a really wide selection of swim bait rods. We have 30 something rods just in Genesis.
Okay.
So we try to cover it all.
Yeah. And then who helped you get into the saltwater game a little more, like when you're like, okay, I'm going to,
It was Mark at Performance.
Really?
Yeah. He kept, he called me and said, I'd like to get some rods. So he reached out, which was rad. And I've always loved Mark from the get-go. I was shocked because he has his own rod line. It's his deal. But he's always supported the locals. And obviously we were part of that little group coming up together. And you can see he's surrounded by all the guys that grew up with him, and they're all successful guys now in the industry.
Yeah.
So he's been this he's pretty important. He's got this. He's important to me. I mean, I wouldn't be in the saltwater if he hadn't bugged me, and then he made it easy. He's like, come into my booth, start with a few rods, and we'll do it that way. I'm like, I got nothing to lose with 2 or 3 rods, and it flowed. And I still do Fred Hall with Mark, and
Yeah, I met you there. You probably don't remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
I met you at the Fred Hall. Actually, Mark introduced me to you.
Yep.
Yeah, last year. That was my first Fred Hall. So it was crazy.
Yeah, no, we've talked about doing our own booth at Fred Hall because it's a good show for us.
Yeah.
But I can't leave Mark right now. He's got me here, and I owe it to him. So. And
I feel like a couple other dudes do the same thing. Doesn't Afrin do the same?
Afrin does it. Yeah.
I mean, I could see that like ritual.
Yep.
You know, Afrin,
Kicker jigs.
Yeah, Kicker.
Jig, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that and Mark's such a good, like, even when I first started fishing, like Calico, I went in there and he talked to me for an hour. It's like, how many tackle shops do the owner talk to you for an hour when you walk in?
And he's sincere.
Yes.
He does not trying to get you as a follower for the store. He's sincere. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool that he pushed you into it. Now, when you started designing the salt rods, were you never really a big salt guy?
Oh, I was.
You were? Okay.
I was into salt as a kid. When I say a kid, I'll take that back. I probably got into it when I was 17.
Okay.
And I was working at a tackle store, and the owner kept going, you have to catch a tuna and pull hard. And I go, 10-pounders pull pretty hard.
Yeah.
And he's, you got to get one. You got to catch one. And finally, I walked into the shop one day, and he had rods stacked up because I got you a ticket, go. And
cool.
I remember the first one. Everyone was catching tuna. They stopped the boat, and everyone's getting them. Oh, wow. And they're getting like 20-pounders. And I couldn't get bit. And I'm going, I got to get one. So I ran up to the bow, and I got bit, and I swung on it, and the thing, pulling, and I go, this isn't a 20-pounder. Like, this is an epic big one. And I got it in after this crazy bow. It was 15 pounds. And it's like, wow, these things pull really hard. I remember the first thought that went through my head. I remember loading up on it, and it started dumping drag. And the first thing went in my head was, man, I wish I could do this on my own boat. But at the time, no GPS really.
Yeah.
This is 20-something years ago. You're like, man, the cattle thing's cool, but I wish I could do it on my own boat. And then fast forward 6 years ago, when they got really close, that inspired me to buy a little boat, and it all came back because I kind of fell out of it. Bass fishing just took over life, and you really can't, if you're serious on bass fishing tournaments, you can't do anything else.
Yeah,
literally, you can't. I mean, it's pre-fish, prep tournament, and it doesn't stop. It's every single weekend, and that was my life for 30 years.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't lose. I mean, I was missing weddings, best friends, parties. I mean, all the stuff that you should be doing.
Are you married right now?
No.
Oh man, you're all in.
I am, yeah. And I've had a girlfriend for a long time, and I need to probably step up to the plate there.
Oh,
but,
I hope she's not listening to this.
Well, maybe, yeah, she probably is. So yeah, no.
Well, that's cool. She's supportive. Like having a sibling, or not sibling, but a wife like my wife.
Yeah.
Is pretty supportive.
We need them.
Oof, need them. Yeah, you got to make them happy sometimes. Men knows, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you had your first line, so it was the swim bait rods. Did you have drop shot rods too?
I started.
You did everything when you did the first line.
So the first line started with 10 rods.
Okay.
And it was 3 dedicated swim bait rods. Mm-hmm. So there was only 7 other rods, and I thought we'll start with 10. And Fred Rabanis signed up with us before the company started.
Okay.
It was all just, this is what I'm going to do. And he jumped on board. It was really cool. Super big help. And it really took off. It took off fast. I mean, we went from 10 to 15 models probably the first year.
Wow.
And now, like I said, we probably have 60 SKUs total.
Wow, that's a lot,
A
man.
lot of warehouse stock because you got to keep a lot of rods. You can't just keep 20 rods because it's gone in a minute.
Yeah.
So. But
Wow.
yeah, so it's a lot of help, from good people,
Yeah.
and then you just have to have that blinders on that, because you got big companies kind of chipping away at you sometimes.
Really?
If you start, I've had that. I've had a few run-ins with some other companies, and I just kind of, instead of getting emotional, you put the blinders on and just keep moving forward. That's what you can do.
A good thing to say for people to listen to, because
It's easy to get emotional.
And a lot of negativity nowadays. Well, it's easy because
insane.
anyone could put whatever they want on the internet.
Yeah.
Anyone could shit on you anytime they want, and you can't really say anything back.
If you do, you look like you're scared. So I just run it off your back. I don't have a bad thing to say about other companies.
No.
I mean, they're killing it. Some of these companies are killing it, and I don't look at other companies. Maybe it's a flaw of mine, but I don't even pick up other companies' rods. I
just saw you pick up a Phoenix rod right
I
now.
did. I was. I saw, it was right next to one of mine. I'm like, what is this? But I don't, and I don't know if it's a good thing, but I don't play with other companies' rods. I don't want any preconceptions in my head, so I copy. So everything I mean this, and everything I've created is how I think it should be. And I use the pros, obviously. I mean, I lean on the pros heavily, actually to the point where if they want something and I kind of disagree, I won't stop it there. I'll go, I disagree. You should do this. It might be better sales, but this is your rod. You're the one that has to talk about it.
Okay.
So I'll do it. And we really haven't had any fails in the long run. I disagreed and went, wow, that worked out. You had a vision and it worked out.
When you're doing the testing out the rods with them, who's wrapping the rod? Are you wrapping rods?
No.
Just the test out part. I'm not. I know it's a different story when you're doing something big like you are, but when you're like going, okay, let's make some changes. Do you have a guy you go to?
No,
do that?
it's expensive. I have to have them made in Korea.
Okay.
And then shipped over. And that's the tough part, the shipping over.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'll go through 5 or 6 models.
Wow.
I've never had, actually we're going through one right now that's been a real test. It's going to come out epic.
Is this for fresh salt?
It's fresh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a new fresh line that we're actually doing for another company.
Okay.
But he's got some fantastic pros involved, so
Okay.
I'm working directly with them.
Oh, amazing.
And it's so cool because it feels like we're starting a new thing, even though it's nothing to do with me. It is, but it isn't. But I get to talk to new pros, and we've got some rods. He's very anal. It's got to do this. Okay, we'll try it. No, 2 more inches. Okay, cool. So we're gonna get it right.
Who does that moving?
The moving,
Like, you know what I'm saying? Say
So-
like guides.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to go back to Korea to get that.
Oh, yes, we do.
You do.
every single time.
Because you have a certain guy you're going to there that's going to fix that one rod.
Well, it's
You know what
when
I'm
you say
saying?
fix, it's the blanks. The blanks. So you can't just so like we'll get
So
a rod.
you're not worried about where the guide is. It's where the blank is, how the blank
Exactly.
works.
The
Okay.
perfect scenario is here. We just created a new rod for Kaimana, and it was kind of created for this hookup bait, kind of tube bait style 1/2 ounce stuff, because we have a very unique fishery going on up in Ventura right now.
Yeah.
We have so much red crab. And sea bass traditionally are, find them, anchor up, or you have to wait with squid, wait. This is the funnest fishing I've ever done. We're fishing tubes, and all the fish are on the crab, and you're chasing bird schools because they're pushing all the crab up, and we're firing these things in, and we're only letting them sink 5-8 feet. And if they don't bite, you're past them, and we're burning it in. So it's actually a surface fishing. Like
And
sea
those aren't
bass.
that heavy, right? The ones you're throwing are 5/8?
They're a quarter.
Quarter?
Yeah, they're really light. So we've been
Oh
using
my
a
God.
regular rod because we were using 3/8, but they circle around. But
Yeah.
you want to stay in that. If that fish isn't looking and it dumps past him, you're not getting bit. So the lighter you go, the longer you're in that 5-foot span.
Yeah.
So we keep going lighter. The plastic holds it up a little bit. So I was finding our 804 it's got balls and it catches those 40 pounders, but I was wearing myself out pushing
Castability, right?
Pushing it too much instead of letting the rod load. Mm-hmm. So we came up with a new rod to make just basically for that, an 803, and Ben took it to Cedros. And he came back with feedback, and it needs more shut off.
Right.
Which I knew it secretly. Didn't want to put anything in his head.
Which is cool of you to do, not to go, maybe you think you just let it happen.
I wanted to see, and it was the exact, he's like, it needs, and I go, yeah, I know, and he goes, what, like 2 feet more in the back? Well, dude, that's it. We both knew it. So now we go back to Korea, and I said, okay, let's move the backbone up, 15 inches, shut it off there,
cool, dude.
And we'll get the blank and we'll test it. No, it needs another 6 inches of shut off. Like that's the game we're playing of, if the tip's right, there's so many variances, but we have so many models out now. We have a good place to start.
I think that's great. You're building a rod around that bait.
It's a necessary.
I do. That's awesome. Because even so, some people won't cop to it. Everybody's using that bait. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what you're saying, and I'm gonna avoid that conversation.
And no. But I'm okay. Let's just say a tube bait. Everybody's using a tube bait right now. Okay. I agree. Even though people, that doesn't matter. People will say they won't, but I know
everybody has them, dude.
Yeah. So it's like cool for you to build a rod for that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was Eric at Eric's Tackle. He might be the center of the hub there, and he was very quick to recognize that deal, and so he brought in thousands of them. So everyone was out of them. He was stocked, and every single cattle boat out of Channel Islands and Ventura, all of those harbors, all of them, every person on those cattle boats is throwing a red tube.
That's crazy.
So when they stop the boat, there's 35 of these tubes going out the boat, and no bait. I don't even buy bait anymore.
That's great for the boats almost too. Like you don't have to worry about bait. You're just
you don't need bait. Once in a while you get squid, and everyone's fishing. It doesn't work, and the guy's going, well, here's a tube. They're so keyed in on that crab until it leaves. We've got that fishery. So Eric was bugging me for that rod.
Yeah.
So
that's cool, man. I like hearing the insides of like how the rod's kind of designed, like how you go back and forth. Like I never knew that.
Yeah.
So which is really cool to hear from you, like how the design works. So
it has to be right.
Yeah.
It has to be. You can build any rod can cast any bait. You can give me an eighth ounce weight, and I'll throw it on a swim bait, but you're not doing it right.
No,
you're going to wear yourself out. You won't.
Yeah.
So I make my swim bait rods. Obviously they need to have the right tips for the actions that I'm hoping for, but most importantly, I designed all of the rods to cast the baits for them. So like I'm on the phone a lot, even when I'm fishing, I'm stuck on the phone, and I got it under my shoulder pinching, and I'm on these conversations. So I only have one arm free. So I can load those. I can load up a Depths 250 with one arm, and the tip just burnt, and then you let it go, and it's sent. You don't even have to roll your shoulder over, nothing.
Yeah.
Because that was another thing when I came from coming the lightest possible gear, and then you go into a big swimbait rod, and after an hour, you're like, okay, the big stuff ain't biting. I'm going to put it down and get back to that drop shot. But if you have a rig, a rod and reel that feels like a regular rod, you're less likely to put it down.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So all of
and it's cool to hear from you because you've done it both.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys either just swim bait fish or just tournament angling, and that's it. Or you've done it both, so you kind of have seen both sides of it.
Yeah, no, I obviously started tournament fishing heavily. I got into the club scene and then moved to team tournaments, to pro tournaments, and it was, I knew that's what I wanted to do from a very young age. I remember having the arguments with my mom. And she said, what are you going to do? And I go, save up for a truck so I can tow my boat around. And that's all I need. And I forgot my train there. Sorry. Sorry.
You're on the tournament, kind of young.
Sorry. Yeah. So I did that hardcore. And then I met... Who got me into it? I mean, obviously I was seeing the pictures, but Dana Rosen. I think Mike Brakebill introduced me to Dana Rosen. Mm-hmm. And I got a taste of what was really out there, and that was I quit tournaments for a little bit. And
what year was this?
90, probably 95, 96.
So was this the
Actually,
heyday kind of?
No, well, it was for us, yes. The heyday started, really got going, I think, with Dana Rosen and like Alan Cole. Those guys really got it cracking. Well, actually, going back way before then would be Jim.
I know, Jim Mason.
Jim Mason.
Jim Mason gave me a whole bunch of baits when I was...
He has to be the OG swim bait guy in the whole world.
For sure. Yeah. Mason, Green Mason's up in...
What lake was it?
Lake Casitas.
Casitas? Okay.
So he was taking the dinosaur, and it was a 12-inch swim bait that Marv from Worm King made for the Lingcod guys. So he took that to Casitas in the 80s.
Oh, shit.
And no, he's not a flashy guy. You know, he's just an aluminum boat, crushing him. He'd bring these broomsticks in with just 13 and 14 pounders. And I was a kid at those times, just what? I don't understand it. I couldn't grasp it.
Yeah.
And then it was, I was fishing with Dana. Dana kind of took me under his arm. I'll teach you. And it was like our third trip, and I hadn't caught one, and he'd been catching them. And then we were coming in, and we cleaned up the boat, and Ken Huddleston walked by, and he was already friends with Dana. So they started shooting the shit, and he goes, well, who's this guy? And he goes, oh, this is Matt. And I'm trying to teach him how to catch him. I'm trying to get him a big bait fish. And Ken, and he goes, how'd you do? And Dana, I got one. I got one. And then Ken, he goes, how'd you do? And Ken goes, well, I had 8. And he's walking the shoreline. And he goes, you guys, all the trout's getting pushed to the bank. You don't want to be in the middle. They're on the bank. So he had this one of his OG hand-carved wooden baits. And he cut it off and gave it to me. He didn't even know me, gave it to me. And I'm like, really?
Do you still have that bait?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
So he goes, just walk the shoreline right here at like 6 a.m. So you can bet I was there at 5:30. And I remember casting it out and going, I forgot to ask him how to work it. And it was already out there, and you can just see the tail kind of sticking out. And I started winding it kind of slow, and you see the tail click, 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 click. I'm like, I think that'll do. And it was 5 feet into my first cast and just got destroyed.
Oh my God.
And it ate it like 5 times, and I never got a hook up. And what happens when we pulled up, I got out of the car and ran. I ran down on the guy that was driving. He was like, where you going? I'm like, it's gone. And so he finally got down to the beach, and I'm like, dude, I just had like 5 bites. And he goes, no, come on. And he didn't believe me. So it was about an hour later, I was retelling the story. It bit it like this and this, and it just got boofed again. And that was my first swim bait fish was a 13-pounder.
Oh my gosh, dude.
So I came back the next day. Actually, I called Ken, and he goes, I'll give you another one if you'll put it in the paper. So I'm new to the game. I don't care. I called the LA Times. I caught a 13-pounder at Lake Castaic.
Yeah.
And he gave me like 3 more baits. That was my first taste of like that industry.
And how old were you at the time?
18, 19, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then the next day I came back and got a 14.
Oh shit.
And that was it. I'm like, why fish anything else?
Yeah.
So I really got into it heavily for, I'd say 4 years. I was just blinders on and just swim baits only. And I learned a ton. The Baileys, I kind of dragged them into it.
Yeah.
And those guys are sharp. So that between the 3 of us, there was never a bite not found.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, bite's over. And, oh, no, check this out. So it was fun. We were competitive, but we would share. And it kept us on them all the time. And we're learning. And then it was, let's try mixing this into tournaments now. And there's a learning curve. You got to know when to say no. You just, it's not right. Stick with the drop shot. I want to win. But I'd say the last 6 years, I mean, that's going way back. And then I went on tour for a while and did all of that and loved it. It was kind of hard to mix it in sometimes. But there'd be pre-fishes where you'd pick up a hud at a weird lake and you get one, you're like, oh. And then days later, not another follow.
Yeah.
But
you feel like the mixture, you were able to like do decent wins with the swim bait?
We did phenomenal. I mean, when I
You did?
great partners. That's the key. You got to have a partner that doesn't want to copy you if you get bit or has his own game plan. Mike Breakbill was my partner for a long time, and that guy is the most incredible wormer. It's just ridiculous what that guy can do with a worm. It sounds silly, but he just catches more than anyone. So having him on the bow, I was completely not thinking about anything else. And then I would just sit in the back and just with a smile catch one a day, you're winning because he's good for a limit. And then the pro tournaments is where it changes. That's when you got to make that decision. And I've won a lot of money with it. Especially like Clear Lake. Goodness, the lakes that have them, you can really put your head down and go, no, I'll grind it out for 2 days. I'll get enough. But yeah, so then it's kind of, our lakes have got tougher. The big fish have really disappeared. The lack of trout plants and heavy pressure.
Lots of pressure, huh?
Dude, it's insane. But it's good. It's
for fishing,
cool to
it's great,
see.
right?
It's for the industry, it's good. But yeah, for the fish, it's very strange to see it's all gone. Casitas, any day if you didn't catch one, you're still seeing 100 13-pounders. And it's 8, 9, 11 pounds winning tournaments over there now.
Wow.
And it's lack of management. They don't want to stock trout because of the hippies screaming something, it's going to spawn with the bass and make a new breed. Come on. There's so many.
The hippies.
They've buggered it up. But I still, I went back to Casitas because now it's private kind of. I went back and paired up with Brian Evans, and we did 5 years straight AOI.
Oh, wow, dude.
And it was a lot of fun. And now we've both gone through, we're so busy with careers and stuff that we haven't been able to focus this year on it. But the tournaments still get me going. They get my stomach twisted. It's just, it's like, the Open. I was thinking about the Open, and then I just went, I'm not prepared to put 2 weeks, cut the whole life out. You can't work and pre-fish. You can't. You're stuck on the phone for half an hour, and that pattern you're working on has changed. So I don't have 2 weeks to just shut my phone off.
Yeah.
They do it right. You could show up and give it 2 days, and I was never that guy.
But you're doing everything on your own?
Everything. Oh, Ben.
Well, Ben's been helping you, but other than Ben, do you have another guy like Ben up
I
north?
have Dan Vesuvio, who he runs Picasso Lures. He's a phenomenal sales guy for me. Opens a lot of accounts. That's his deal. So yeah, he works with me very closely.
Okay, that's great.
We talk 8 times a day. So between Ben and Dan, I think I'm so comfortable with what I got around me.
That's hard to bring someone into if you don't know if they're the right fit or not.
I was by myself forever and ever. Me and Dan have been very tight. Obviously, I've looked up to Ben since his video days. I was always, and then when I see him at a trade show and he was nice to me, I was a little starstruck. I'm like,
but with Ben, I'll give him that. I remember going to Pacific Sport Coast show.
Yeah.
And I still didn't know anyone really. And I saw Ben, and he's so nice. Hey, Nick! Not many dudes are going to remember your fucking name.
Yeah.
Like Decker called me, hey, buddy.
He calls me buddy.
He didn't know my name. He didn't fucking remember. It's fine, dude. But it's Ben's that kind of guy where he remembers you. That goes a long way.
No, it's when he made a little post about him, kind of changing things in his life, and I just sent him a little message, good luck with everything, and if you ever were curious and he replied, and I literally jumped up and down in the room. Like, no way. So yeah,
I think he gives that feeling to everyone.
So yeah, no, he's definitely my voice of reason. I stress a lot. I do get a little uptight, and I'll call Ben going, no, we got things. Ben, no, just do this and this. And he's definitely my voice of reason for sure.
His voice too pretty good. So the one thing you guys both have in common, the video. So you both done kind of like a game-changing video in my eyes. I haven't seen yours yet, but I did watch Ben's, which we're going to talk about on his podcast. But you did something like that too with the Bass Posse, right?
Yeah, we so let's see. It started back when I first. I'll tell you when it started. I had a day. There was one day I went to I'd been out of the country. I'd come home dying to fish, and the lake had come up 45 feet, pure chocolate, and everyone was just it's bad. It's bad. And so I was itching. I'm like, I haven't fished in like 2 weeks. So I couldn't find anyone to go with. I went, had all my worm rods out and jig rods out. I was going to go flip some brush. And I drove by a point. I used to catch a hudfish on this when the lake was full. I threw it out, got bit. It was like an 8-pounder. Oh. I remember calling Dave Hollenbeck, who I begged to go with me. And I woke him up. I got an 8-pounder. He's like, I'm going back to bed. Next cast, I got a 10-pounder.
Oh, shit.
And I call, I got a 10-pounder. And he's like, oh, you asshole. Next cast, I got a 12. Oh my Called him. He goes, I'm on my way. So then I ended up going 27 casts in a row, and they were all, I had that 8-pounder, the rest were all 10 to 12 pounds.
That's amazing.
27 casts in a row. So I didn't have it. I had got tons of pictures, but I would really wish I had that on video. So I went that night straight to the store. This is so long ago. I bought these little handy cam.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to tell anyone. So I went and got my mom. I said, Mom,
Fuck, you had your mom do it.
I have a mom. Can you film this? No one can know. So she came out and filmed, and I had all this cool footage, and I showed Sean Bailey. I go, look at this footage. He's like, dude, I want to do that. I go, I'm going to make a video. He goes, well, can I be part of it? I go, sure. So he starts making some footage, and he's like, can my little brother be part of it too? I'm like, if he comes up with footage.
Yeah.
And then I got introduced to Ike and Nelly, and he's, I'd love to do that. So I called him out. And we had a day. We had 12 swim bait fish, giant fish, and I'd filmed the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, we've got some footage here. So we got serious about it for the next 6 months, and we ended up, I think we had 60 fish, over 10 pounds on film. And it's all big swim baits.
What year was that too? You did that?
2000. Oh my goodness.
That was the last year of that stuff. You walked it out with that.
That was well said. I don't know what year that was. 04. It was 05. Okay, so 04 was the big day I had.
I think
Okay.
it was 05.
Yeah,
right?
05,
It
06.
came out?
Yeah, 06 it might have come out.
And this was VHS or CD or DVD?
DVD. And it was all done. So all of the fishing videos at the time were either instructional. You got a Southern guy drawing about what he's doing. It was all kinds of other stuff. And so coming from surfing, I've surfed my whole life and skate. I've been skating in the industry my whole life. We did it like that. So we did kind of punky music, fast edits, and just swinging in 10
It was
pounders.
momentum. The people that
That's
surf
it.
will know
Yes.
it was the momentum of fishing. Because I saw it, and when I saw it, I was like, holy shit. And because I had lived through the 70s and the 80s at Casitas, and I had done my fair share with, swim baits, crawdads, water dogs, and then I met Darren Tochihara, who had just won a big tournament with Dana Rosen, and he had gave me the first TNTs.
63-pound limit, by the way.
So it was the first time
73. Sorry, Ben.
I started throwing this thing, and I was laughing at it. And I told you that story. I was back by the island, and the buoy, the log jam was open, and I went back there with him. And I was like very proficient at bait fishing because that's what I did. But I actually caught my first swim bait fish with a dinosaur. It wasn't a dinosaur. It was Jim gave me a bait, and I caught a fish in a tree with a worm king. And it was just really weird because I'd never even caught a freaking calico yet. I caught a largemouth bass on a swim bait before I caught a calico, right? So I went back in that thing with Darren Tochihara, and I have never seen anything like it. They just went off on those TNTs. He picked up one. He had two 8s on one plug, and we ended up getting fish to like 13 pounds on those baits. And I was just like, okay, how many of these can I buy? And what the deal was, it was just, I think I was working for AFCO, and there was a trade-off. So I would hook him up, he'd give me baits, and I still have at least 10 TNTs. And most of them caught fish. But people don't understand what he's saying, because to go out and throw that bait, you have to be committed to one bite. And you have to
Nowadays,
have that.
yeah. Back then, I mean, even Dana, when I got into it, fishing was good, but Dana would tell me stories of, oh man, I used to come out here at 1 o'clock. I could just cast over here. There'd be water skiers. I'd catch a 10-pounder every cast. He said, I'd just work, come over here. It was just no one threw it, so they're just grabbing it.
Yeah.
But we had it good too. I mean, there was obviously I had 27 big ones in a row, and then it was a month later we set the record for one bass team tournaments.
Did you?
With a similar thing? We pulled up to a point. It was a worm.
Was
kind
it
of
at
deal.
Casitas?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Different spot, but then I'd pre-fished it, found some fish on a worm, and I got settled in. I go, I'm gonna keep it honest. I'm gonna throw a head, and we caught 11 in a row.
Oh my God.
That was such a neat day. 11 in a row. We had 38 pounds.
That's crazy.
We had an 11-pounder in that one. That was so cool. So yeah,
that's crazy. Hearing about, I like hearing the history too. Like I told Ben too, like hearing about what you were doing and how good the fishing could have been, was then. Now you lived through it all, so it's kind of cool to hear guys that have been through all the stages of swim bait fishing.
Yeah,
you know,
I've definitely seen the ups and downs, and I hope there's going to be ups. There has
I feel
to
like
be.
Fishing's on an up all around right now.
It's so big.
Yeah,
it is. So when I
Yeah.
started fishing, obviously I was in chasing girls too, and all of that, and I was into the club scene and all that. And you tell someone you fished, that's the kiss of death.
No.
The kiss of death. I mean, it didn't matter. Hey, you're super cute. What do you do? Oh, I fish. Ugh. And they're gone. They're gone. And now, or even if you're just talking to guys, you know, like they go, "What? You can make a living fishing?" And now it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my buddy does that. Or yeah. It's just normal.
Yeah.
I'll wear a fish shirt in the supermarket, and people will just, oh yeah, right. You know,
Right.
so it's great for the industry. It's massive compared to when I thought it was big.
Mm-hmm.
But the lakes, we don't have enough lakes.
Wow.
You know,
Did you ever fish Mathews?
Yes, I did. I did.
How was
No,
that?
Wasn't very good.
Really?
So Mike Gusti, he's the big DFG guy,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So I got invited to go. They were going to drain the lake, and so they wanted to pull all of the fish out and put them into Diamond. So he said, go out, catch all the fish, and there was like 4 of us that got to go in there on this lake that's never been fished.
Yeah.
Right? And so I spent 4 or 5 hours working around. I finally caught a largemouth, put it in the well. Okay, cool. And then I'm driving across the lake, and the stripers just erupted. I got stuck in that for too long and came in. I think I had 2 or 3 bass at the end of the day, and it was pretty good. It was good enough to get another invite because no one else did that good. So I got another invite to go back. So I said, can I bring someone? So I brought Sean Bailey.
Oh.
So we went and fished for about an hour, and we couldn't get bit, and we see the stripers in the middle. I'm like, I'm going there. So we ended up spending 6 hours catching stripers, and we never got invited back. But yeah, it was cool to be on that. There's a river up that lake. Have you been on that lake?
No, I've just heard stories. My uncle was in, I always say this, he was in Bass Aquarium for like 20 years. So
yeah.
my uncle kind of helped me get into fishing. So he told me about one time they went and told everyone at Diamond Valley, okay, let's go. We're going to hit Mathews for the day and let everyone fish it. This was a long time ago. He's been fishing since, 90 something. But that's why I asked people like that had been fishing for a long time. Have you been there?
Yeah.
Because I heard it can times people went. It's just crazy.
I'm sure it's a neat looking lake. There's islands and stuff. The coolest part for me is a river, and it's like the aqueduct or something flows into it, and it's really windy, and the water is like mint blue, and you get all the way to the end of it, and it's a raging rapids, and you can cast a jig in right to the rocks where the water comes off the rocks, and we were catching stripers on jigs and largies. And I took Sean Bailey up there the second time I went.
Yeah.
And I'm full speed. I knew no one's on the lake. So I'm going full speed through this really windy canyon, and he's going, dude, stop. Went round. And then you come up to this huge raging rapids, and he's like, and you have to hold the trolling motor on high, and you cast right in that whitewash. And they're all in there. It was awesome. Really cool experience.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know what I do really like? I before I even kind of knew Irod, you had that really cool video. Was it a commercial?
Which one?
It was an Irod commercial. Well, it might have been recently.
Yeah, it's the last one you did.
Oh, that thing is so awesome.
Yeah,
That came out
dude.
really good, dude.
John Ziola.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked. We've been friends for a while. He's been on my pro staff for a while, and I keep seeing his videos. His edits are epic. I mean, I honestly...
It looks like a commercial. It looks crazy.
Yeah. They're so seamless, and the music, and I just say, I have, it's a fishing video, and I have people that don't fish that will watch it in its entirety because it's art.
Yeah.
So I kind of, hey, would you like to do a video with us? And he was all about it. And we were doing a whole series of them. And
that's
so
cool.
what he's done is we'll go out and film, and he'll give us give me 3 to 5 30-second, 1 minute little social media teasers, and then he does a big 30-minute one at the end, and that's the first one that came out.
Yeah.
And the feel of it, and I loved how we did the Groms too. Instead of going high speed pros, those 2 kids have been with me since the day one.
Wow.
They were 12 and 13 years old. They don't know any other company basically.
Yeah.
And so when John said, pick some hardcore Groms, those two kids came to my head immediately because they've been using them their whole life.
Yeah.
Now it's 10 years later and now they're fishing. They got boats, they're traveling, they're
crazy.
doing it. And so it was really neat working with the enthusiasm of those kids instead of using big pros. We have some great pros. I just thought that touched a lot of people. And we got a lot of feedback because it makes it accessible for everybody to feel like they can do it.
Which is a big thing, which I kind of like how you kind of have like a cool promotional stuff too. Mm-hmm. Like with T, and I've met some of the guys. Jake, he's really good.
Yeah. We're going to do one with him and T. Yeah. That's...
Yeah, so it's cool that you guys are kind of doing something a little different. I talked with Phoenix before, but same thing. I like the promotional stuff. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to have people maybe that don't have the followers, but will promote your product. Yeah, I think that's super cool.
T has been, T over at Save-On. He's been a huge help. I mean, he's really pushed me into an area we weren't in.
Yeah,
and he's hungry. He gets it, and he. He's coming out with this new line of rods he's helped me design.
Awesome.
And it's the Coastal series.
Yeah.
And he's put it together a little group of guys that are all going to be using them and pumped on them. And he's really done a good job of, I've got my way of doing things, and he's a little different, and it's great. It's always working fantastic.
It's always good to have different looks on the company, of course.
Yeah. No, it's nice. I mean, it's I like he's done a great job, and I'm looking forward to these rods coming out because he's got so much hype on them. Usually I keep things quiet because I've been poached a lot.
I'm sure that happens.
Oh
right?
God, but I don't have the money to blow things up and say, "Hey world, this is what I'm doing." And so if I launch something my way, it doesn't get seen by the world fast, so it's very easy to poach. Like, oh yeah, well we've got $1 million to throw that out and say it's our idea.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't, and I don't want to be the turkey talking guy, but there wasn't a fluorescent green rod in the whole world. And when I came out with it, everyone went, that's a bit aggressive. There's not a rod company that does not use that color now.
But I know it's Irod.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's an Irod. Like, when I see the green,
it sticks out
that's
really
an Irod.
well.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
I know that. If I see another one do it, I'm like, Irod already did that.
Yeah. There's some real close ones.
There's some scary. I mean, there's one company came out and they copied component for component, changed the logo to look like
How
mine.
do you do? Is there infringement on that or no?
No, I don't. No. It's not worth. If
fishing's
even if there was, is it worth the energy and money? To go after them?
No.
And it's been someone's going to hear this and go, yeah, let's take advantage of Matt and his attitude here.
No.
But when something bad happens to me or the business, instead of me focusing on that, I go, I've done that. I've got all turmoil and I gotta straighten this out. You're putting all that energy into the past, into something that's
negativity.
Yeah, and it makes you upset and you go to sleep pissed. So I don't want to say it's a laissez-faire attitude because it's not. It's I got to roll it away and move on to what I am doing. Instead, I've seen too many people get into these battles. There's companies that like battle.
That's crazy.
And it's like all that energy you put into battling him could have been the next line of rods. So I just choose to it gets my stomach upset a little bit. So I do take it personally sometimes. But
you put your heart and soul into something. It's like,
you're like,
and if you're doing something good, someone else is going to copy it. That's how it works with anything.
Anything in this industry is evil like that too.
Yeah.
It's just kind of accepted now.
Yeah.
So, you just got to keep, and it's, I'll change the subject a little bit. It keeps you moving forward. Now I'll go for another thing, like fishing little lakes. I put a lot of time into Casitas and we won a lot of tournaments there. Mm-hmm. And if I won on a spot, the next tournament, there's no chance I will get on that spot. So during the next tournament, I'm not even going to look at it. I'm stressed on finding a new spot. The rest of the field is all fighting over that spot. And then you win the next one. Like, how do you keep winning the next one? I go, I have to find something new every week because of you guys.
That's why you're not married, right? New tale every week.
Yeah, no,
I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Lack of. I mean, it's bed at 9 o'clock and up at 4. You have no social life.
No, but I hear a lot of dudes that think outside the box say the same thing you do, because with baits, like you look on Instagram, everyone's using this one bait. Then you go fishing with some guys and they'll be like, you think they're using that bait, but they're fucking not. They're using something way different.
Oh, I'll win tournaments,
You know?
and everyone goes, the swim bait bite's on. Newman won. And I'm like, yeah, it was a 5-pound drop shot. But I will never lead on. They'll go, dude, how big are the swim bait bite? And you just go, yeah, it's it.
Does everyone come look at the boat and see what you're tied on?
It's a game. And we play the game. They're all going to hear me now and go, oh, Newman. But we'll play, if we get on a really good bite, and I've done this before. Me and Sean got into a good, amazing deep crankbait bite. It was amazing. And no one had just figured it out yet. So we come in, we chopped off all the baits, and then we put on Texas rigs. And then we took white grubs and we ripped them up and scattered them all over the boat.
Oh. That's the best. I would have tied on like all swim baits or
and people came over the boat and no one wants to say, what are you doing? They go, hey man, how's it going? What's for dinner tonight? And they're just looking at every rod. And I can see everyone looking at the white grubs. They're like, and they're going,
funny,
they're
dude.
sight fishing them, And I didn't say a word. No one asked me. Just white grubs all over the boat.
Not talking about white. Let's move on past white grubs. There's been a lot of controversy about the white grub lately. So.
Oh yeah. That's a
Me and Mike.
stain. That's a big stain on the industry there. But we all knew that one. Didn't we?
I think everyone said the same thing, and I really haven't talked to him. I talked to Gilbert a little bit about it, but other than that, like
the funny thing is I think us on the West Coast, we all knew it. We all had a feeling. I had a feeling from the day one, and just a feeling. That's all it was. There was just weird decisions made. And then we all heard about what was going on about 5 years ago. And it never got traction. It just didn't. So then they came up with that video. And I think people needed to see something. And then they started reading what was already published before.
do you know Mike?
Yes. Yeah.
Has anyone talked to him since? Like, is he okay? No.
He's off the
grid.
Off the grid.
I mean, it's a shitty. I don't wish ill on anybody.
No.
I mean, Mike Hart dug a big hole, and I feel bad. I mean,
was that the one he did at the one? Billy Egan talked about on the podcast.
Yeah.
Was Billy the tournament director at that one?
Yeah.
Was Billy that?
Yeah. I know Billy
He was
had
fishing
to
with
do it.
Scimitar.
No.
Mike
Billy.
Hart was with Scimitar.
Oh, for the team.
Oh no, well,
tournaments.
he was the tournament director. Billy Egan,
Billy was
I
the
think.
tournament director.
Because he came the day that dropped the Mike Long. We released Billy's episode, and he talks about that story when he was. So it was like I didn't even know. Like it was like, oh man,
it's crazy how you can get addicted to that fame and spotlight. I mean,
but you have to live with yourself. Like, I'm not going to get into something, but I was accused of cheating, and I had to go through every channel to prove that I didn't.
If you talk, let's hear about it.
I don't want to talk about it because the person that accused me was someone that's really within the realms right now, and just to think that I would never do anything like that. I wouldn't. Yeah.
No,
it's just like
I've let go 8-pounders that I accidentally snagged.
Yeah.
On a bed, they ate it, and I swung. It came on the cheek.
It's because you guys have a good
Scruples.
moral.
It's our parents.
Yeah,
Our parents did it to us.
It makes me sick if you do something wrong. It makes me sick. If you've done anything.
Are you bed fish? Will you bed fish?
I was bed fishing, and
you will bed fish though.
Oh, will I?
Because some people's.
I will, but I do hate it. I loved it growing up because me and the boys were catching 10, 12 pounders before work. It was really, really cool, But tournaments, I hate it, and it's my personal thing. I hate it because I want to get on with fishing, and I don't want to sit there and stare at a damn fish that might
puff on your bait for.
Oh, it's just so stressful. I just want to go fish. I want to fish and not stare at this damn thing. And then if you pull away and then you see someone bolted to one, then there's a head game. You're like, dude, how big is that one? I shouldn't be out here. So you have to throw it in, but I will leave it to the last possible deal. Like, okay, there's nothing else. I got to hit the bank.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, I if I saw a 10-pounder on a free fishing day, I'm going to stop and try and catch him. But tournaments, it bugs me so bad. I don't bug people are doing it. I don't mind. But it just bugs me. It's going down. I want to fish.
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, I like to hear your outlook since you're a tournament fisherman too. Like,
yeah.
I've only had a couple tournament guys. I had what's his name? Greg Vincent from Fish Head. He called in.
Okay.
He's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to set up with Demiki with Brian Thrift.
Yep.
He's going to call in too, but Daniel from Demiki's in the
He's
comment.
good, dude. Yeah.
Daniel's great, man. He's helped us out a lot at the podcast.
Giving me some baits in the past.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So I'm going to do Collins, but just with dudes that are huge.
Yeah.
It sounds horrible. Only big guys get called. If you're a local dude, you know, like, I mean, there's some other people too that are going to come on, but it's cool to hear from tournament guys because it's like, that's what they do, dude. It's like, and I've had a lot of saltwater bass tournament, but I think freshwater is a little different.
It's different.
You know?
Because everything's so, saltwater, you can find half of an island to yourself.
Yeah, you could get a 38-pound bag like nothing, right? It's easy.
You know what? If you ever want to step up to the world, go and fish. I fish the team tournaments, the bass tournaments, and when I say bass, freshwater bass, it's a different deal.
It's cutthroat. And I mean, there's just not the drama. I guess it's the anxiety that goes into it. Don't care who you are, you be bulletproof. And that launch, you've put so much. If you're dedicated, you've put so much into practice, and you've changed out your lures 1,000 times. You've put a dot on it in the back here. You've red hook here, whatever it is. You think you got it. This hours in your boat, and then sorry, I got stuck on that one. My brain goes too fast. Tournament
fishing, and the switch up from the anxiety and the stress.
The anxiety before you launch. Am I going to get that spot?
Yeah.
If I don't get that spot, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And that's not screwed because you can't say that to yourself, because then the buzzer goes, and I've had tournaments. I have a great tournament where I had a spot that it seemed so obvious. It was at Clear Lake. It was a huge tournament, and it was just loaded in the morning. You only had about 20 minutes. And it was incredible. Still to the day, it was incredible. And I drew boat 140. And I was done. I was done. I was like, I'm sick to my stomach. I don't have anything else after 7:30. I'm lucky if I can catch 2 fish. And it's going to take 35 to win.
So you're betting some of these lakes. You're betting on a time slot in the morning.
It's horrible.
That's crazy to think about. Like you're not thinking the whole day. You're thinking, I got to get to this fucking spot and hit my fish at this time, or I'm fucked.
I'm screwed. Yeah, you're screwed. And I remember racing down the lake. I told my buddy all about this doesn't happen, and it was a long drive, and we're driving. The sun's in my eyes, and we just get under that sun. I can see the spot, and there's no one there. And I just start punching my buddy in the arm. I'm like, oh no way! And we pulled up, and it's just every cast 7-8 pounders. It was so exciting, but that could have gone wrong.
Yeah,
just like that. And then you come in, you're a hero for the first 5 minutes of a tournament, or you're like, what happened to you, dude? I didn't get my spot, and I caught 2-3 pounders.
Yeah.
So it's you can be so prepared, and it just doesn't. Everything can change so quickly, and there's so cutthroat people. I mean, I've had people see me pre-fishing a spot, and they know, or they just they figured it out that I'm going to hit it, and they'll go there not really knowing how it lays out, just to block me. Like, we know it was a morning thing. I couldn't understand the spot, but if you got it, you're going to get 30 pounds again. So they just sit on it. And
they just do it just to make sure you don't win.
They'll try it. They think they can fish it, but you're looking at them going, dude, the ledge is right behind you, and you're like sitting on it.
Oh, sheesh.
And they're just doing it because they think they can try and match you. And I'm not saying I'm great.
But they didn't put the homework in that you did.
No, and then you sit on it, and it's out of spite half the time, and so you have to let that go. You just let it roll off. And
do you ever get in arguments with dudes on the lake?
I used to.
Yeah,
I used to.
When you're tournament fishing.
No.
Fishing.
I've had some silly ones in the past, and I've been reprimanded by the right people. Just get your shit straight.
That's good.
I grew up on the beach. Not that I'm never a mad or even person, but the camaraderie gets you into a lot of fights.
Yeah.
There's a lot of adrenaline in the water, and it happens. So I grew up like that, and then when I kind of it was a zero shit-taking attitude, and it just doesn't work in fishing. It's too tight-knit, and you fight one guy, and instantly you're a bully loser. So I learned that quick. And I'm not a tough guy. I'm not. But I learned that quick, and now somebody can pull right up to me and cast over my line. And this happened in a TOC. The guy pulled up, cast it over my line, and I just reeled it in. I went to the next spot. And my buddy's like, "Why'd you do that?" And I go, "I can't fish with shaky legs." I didn't say a word.
Yeah.
I just put the rod down. I didn't throw the rod. I put it down. I go, "I'm gonna move." He goes, "This is your good spot." And I'm like, "I can't fish when my legs are shaking like this."
Because you're so angry.
Angry, yeah. I guess. If I was so angry, I would have said like, "Come on, dude." But then you start a verbal discussion / argument, and now you're out. You're out of the game. Your hands
you
are
have to
shaking.
focus.
So I've learned that, my best tournaments, your best fishing is done when you're so calm and almost daydreaming. And so if you're focused on this guy or just the adrenaline going through your hands, you're done. You're done.
Yeah.
You're out for the whole day. So, and I've done, I've fished thousands of tournaments. I've learned that you get your first spot and someone's just going to bump your boat. It's legal in some of these tournaments, and they'll push on your boat.
Are you serious?
It's legal.
You could bump
You
someone's
can't
boat.
bump, but you can get within an inch. It doesn't matter. Team tournaments, they say 50 yards, whatever. But in the pro stuff, there's none of that. So you can literally catch 3 in a row and have a guy come right on your bow so you can't cast off the bow. I've had a guy cast over my bow, and I had to put my foot on his line. His line was over my bow, and I put my foot on it. I'm going to cut your line, and it became an argument. That was when I was younger.
But that's not acceptable.
It's
I
not.
wouldn't,
No. It isn't. But
it's a valid reason to get mad.
But you get mad, your day's done, and that's where you have to go.
He's talking about the mental state.
Yes.
Yeah.
If
No,
you
I
lose-
get what
if
you're
you-
saying. Your
Yeah.
day's done because you're in your head playing an argument out the rest of your day with this dude
I should
punching
have
him in
said
the
this,
face.
and wait till we
in your
get to the
head.
ramp.
Yeah.
I've had I'll see you at the ramp, and it's useless. Absolutely useless.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, once the tournament's over, the adrenaline drops off. You end up shaking the guy's hand anyway. Or you just.
Hey, that's you. Maybe
you
me and Ben are hotheads over here. We would have fucking.
I've been that guy.
You take the enjoyment out of what you're doing, though. I know. I got to tell you, I still you're a bigger man than me. We were in Cedros, and I had caught 3 yellows off this one spot, and I was sitting there on it. And I turned to my left, and this guy's slow trolling mackerel because he's been watching me catching these, and he goes right over my spot. They don't want the mackerel; they wanted the iron. But I totally lost my cool, took my surface iron, threw it over the top of his boat, hooked his mackerel, and wound his mackerel back to the boat. And the captain was on my boat was just like, oh my gosh. And I'm screaming and yelling, and everybody in the boat's going, relax, relax. And you know what it was? I couldn't understand how someone could walk up and stand in front of me in line before I'm going to, and I've been waiting in line for an hour, but they're going to stand in front of me. And then I backed off and I didn't say anything else and I relaxed. But I let him get the best of me instead of just going, well, I caught 3 instead of 0 because I knew I could have caught 2 more off the spot. And I was like, I don't get it. But you know what? That's Mexico. They're going to do whatever they want to do, right?
They do it here too.
They do it here. Because I was sitting there, someone was talking to me down there, and they're going, well, wasn't that? And I'm like, dude, I flied a kite for big fish, and how many times has people ran through my kite gear and stuff when they do they can't see the kite, and they go right over your yummy? They're like, you're fishing it too far back. I mean, oh, man, what is wrong with these people?
Yeah.
Don't let it ruin you. You're teaching me something. I'm listening. I'm older.
Yeah.
I'm listening again. Knock it off.
I think it's a good way to think about it too. If people are listening,
and the longer you practice it, you really can preach it. I've had a lot of my friends. I've had a lot of friends that have gone, man, you've really changed. And it's.
You feel like you used to be a real hothead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was. I mean, I had a temper, not with just people. I just, I'd build a model plane. It didn't look right. I'd jump on it.
I think I'm kind of like that, where I've fucking thrown stuff I built and just because I'm like, it didn't come out right.
And then you look at it and you're going, dude, you're such an idiot. Like, all you had to do was just fix the wing, and now it's totaled. And that was when I was a kid. And as you grow up, I've learned from those temper tantrums. And then obviously, getting in conflicts with people, you can't stay calm. I don't care if you're Tyson. You're not going to stay calm. And that's where you're at. For me, I guess maybe I have a huge adrenaline port because my legs just knock so hard when I'm mad. And
I think that's everyone get. I've had experiences.
You can't
since I've done this podcast with dudes.
Yeah,
and it's the same way. I walk back into my truck. I called my wife and I'm like, I want to fucking punch this motherfucker in the face. She's like, you can't. You got a podcast. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's it. And I think that's a good way to think. It's like, just blow it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're all in the limelight now. Not that we're famous, but
people see what you're doing.
We're out there. And I remember getting into an argument. I was with Stan Vandenberg and we were fishing and We had caught a bunch of swim bait fish in a row. We were having a moment. And this guy comes down the bank. I can't even think of his name. I probably won't bring it up, but he's an old timer on the lake. And he has intimidated me my whole life. Pushed me off of spots when I was 10 years old. I mean, he's just a grumpy, scary guy. He comes down the bank and starts giving me a MF that I cut him off. And I'm like, we've been here for 30 minutes. And I lost it. So I threw a hood at him and hooked his pants.
Oh, shit.
And I'm trying to pull him in. And Vandenberg comes up to me and bear hugs me. What are you doing? And I'm like, I'm going to get this guy. It's payback. And he's like, people are looking at you. Not now, but like, I was just going pro. I had sponsors. And he's literally from behind bear hugging me going, you are out of control. You are going to lose everything if you keep this up. And that resonated with me so hard. I don't think I've been in a fight since.
Yeah, but that's a big accomplishment to hook someone's pants. Dude,
yeah, I was a mess.
I could see. That's crazy. I mean, I got a temper. I'm sure Ben does too, and I would do the same shit. I get mad. And I've gotten arguments on the lake before with people. It's like you get arguments everywhere. I'll be, fishing in the fucking ocean. No, and you think, man, I'm in the ocean, and this fucking asshole, comes right up on you. I'm like, really?
I had one last week, and we got such a laugh at it. We had our kite out. There's no one. Or Evan Salve was next to us. We're chatting with him, and this yacht comes up, and I'm like, what is he doing? He's coming right up my backside, right into my kite. And he's got a kite out, so he gets it, and he drives. I have to wind my bait up so it goes over his house. I mean, oh no, I'm winding as fast as I can. And it goes over his house, and I don't know what, you're not going to start MFing someone in yachts, right? But then Evan gets on the radio and he's in tears. And then I'm in tears. And we made such a good thing about that, we're like, Weston was on the other side of him, and this guy's clueless, and he comes within like 8 feet of both of us and just wrecked all of our kite lines. And we just, all of us were in tears laughing. Like, what do you do?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to chase him down or something.
I'm just going to free spool and drop that bait back down, and it's all over.
Yeah.
It's all over.
What you end up doing is yelling, and no one hears you.
Or you get on the radio, and now you're a sourpuss.
I never get on the radio. I'm screaming and yelling, thinking they're hearing me, and they don't hear me.
I'll do the airplane direction thing, like, hey, line here, go that way. And they don't copy that. You're like, you have to, I don't want to sound like an idiot. There's idiots out there.
Yeah,
there's so many, and I say idiots are, let's say, less educated people, not just in life, just common sense.
Yeah,
and you can't blame them. Sometimes, like you go, he doesn't know, he didn't know he drove into my yummy. Obviously,
which is a good when you're not mad. You're gonna think that way because like everyone, I dropped my fucking boat off my trailer before. Everyone, when you're learning, it's like this. Maybe this dude is a millionaire. He's like, I want a yacht. He's fucking like, I'm doing it.
He didn't drive into my kite on purpose.
Yeah,
didn't. He was a clueless to look up. That took me a little bit. When you get around boats, you have to look up behind every boat to make sure it's clear. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he was new enough and didn't know.
Yeah.
So, and I jumped straight to that conclusion. It keeps your day happy.
Which is a good conclusion to jump to make you not flip out.
Let's talk about these big tuna right now.
Have you caught a couple?
Yeah, I caught my biggest one 2 days ago.
How big was it?
Oh, it's that game. We didn't put it on a scale. We taped it. So it's...
What is it?
Don't say it, don't weigh it.
Yeah. But I will guesstimate based on measurements, it was pushing 300 pounds.
Wow.
And it's my fish. It's no one else's, so I know in my head.
You did that in your boat?
Yes. Yeah.
That's you're stoked then because it's on your boat.
My boat with two people who had never done it before. My best friends.
Oh.
And a little boat when we're way out, 70 miles out on my little 21 footer. And now this is my 8th one now, over 200. And this one was
Were they weird friends tripping out?
Yeah, I mean they were. One of I have a partner in the boat, and he's been out with me 15 times, never caught one.
Okay.
And then Sean Bailey, who my history's deep with him. He's never big
tuna fishing.
He has, when I was younger doing it, he was younger with me doing it too. But he's been out of the game for a long time, tournament fishing.
Yeah.
And so I took him out last week, and we went popper fishing. and we caught a bunch of 50-pounders, and he was like, "Oh my God, this is so fun!"
Yeah,
And
the
let's
popper, I bet, man.
go for the big one next week. So it was literally like okay, this is what's going to happen. This is what you have to do. This is what you have to do. And I had to teach these guys. I'm used to a crew that just kite goes up. The bait's rigged. We're all in sync. And then to have these guys, me teaching them what to do, and then hand the reel to my buddy and go, now wind it to tease it and watch this super cow eat it. It was a highlight of my life, I think. I mean,
yeah,
it's just the prep, the thought, everything that goes into it is so gnarly.
and sharing it with your best friends too. Is like,
That's it.
That makes the whole.
Yeah, it wouldn't have meant as much on a cattle boat.
Yeah.
It was like, cool, I killed that fish. The captain took me to it. I dropped the line out and I ate it.
But you're the captain now.
The captain and rigger, and it's my, like even I think everybody is probably even more advanced than I am, but I just figured something out myself. I've never fished with anyone to teach me.
Yeah.
So I just figured out something the other day with the kite that worked. And, then I brought it up to people and, oh yeah, we've been doing that. And I go, oh, see, I just figured that out. It's neat.
But it's better to figure it out sometimes for yourself.
You know why? You know the reason why
It
now.
sticks in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
Yep. And I'd figured it out. I've caught a lot of fish on kites now, but we were having kind of a rough day, and I just started figuring out some manipulation I was doing, and then I'd handed the rod to my buddy. I go, "Did you see what I was doing?" Just because I got some big blow-ups doing it. And it wouldn't stick. So you saw me do, yeah, and I put the rod in his hand. He's never done this ever, and I hear him engage the reel, and he's doing it, and then I just hear him go, "Oh my God." And I just spin around and this thing's in the air. It ate it and it was just a perfect jump over the moon. Bloop. Kite released and we're on.
Dude, that's amazing.
It's
Did you have video of it?
I do. No,
do you?
no, not of the bite. It was as soon
but
as
when you're reeling it in,
as soon as the thing collapsed,
cool,
the clip released, I just leaned over and pushed go. So I have it, and we killed that fish. And the whole video from getting in the boat and us ogling it was 45 minutes. So we probably did it in like 30 minutes.
That's crazy.
On one of our rods too. I'm stoked.
Oh, is it on an Irod too? Oh,
yeah,
awesome,
we've got
dude.
a new line of rods coming out in about a month or so. It's a little weird timing, but they're all big
Tuna.
cow rods,
Okay.
150-pound rods,
Wow.
rail rods, kite rods,
Yeah.
and that's been
Man.
super fun too.
You're going off over there on the phone, bro.
Dude, I keep trying to turn it off.
I'm just messing with you, madam. We don't care. Unless you got to get it if you have to get it.
That's the Irod hotline.
Oh, give him a call, guys. Get the podcast. Well, man, is there anything you guys want to touch on about Irod? Anything new coming out? Any new things you got lined up for next year? Maybe Fred Hall, anything like that?
It's nonstop. There's always some new exciting things. You might have even heard me and Ben discussing before we started. We're up to something. I can't talk about it yet, but I'm trying to make a big splash next year.
Okay. You think you'll have that out by Fred Hall?
What is that? That's February, January,
March.
February.
March.
It's a very possible.
Cool.
Yeah, very
Cool.
possible.
Awesome.
Yep. I know all of the those big rods will be obviously
Okay.
making a proper debut there because the season will be coming.
Mm-hmm.
We're coming out with these right at the end of it. And then the coastal series we're going to expand that fast.
Okay.
I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty good line. It's got a good momentum. So that coastal series is only 2 rods right now, 2 very popular rods. I would say it would be 5 rods in
Cool.
a few months.
Yeah.
So yeah, those 2 series, and then we're doing, not saying too much, something big in the bass, a whole different deal.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nonstop. It is. It's work, plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Squeeze
thanks
in a
again
fish.
for coming on, dude. Ben, too.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. They could reach you on Instagram at
Irod Fishing.
okay,
Yeah.
and the website is just Irod Fishing.
irodfishing.com.
Okay.
And the YouTube is Irod Fishing as well, and that's where all these new videos are
And
going.
you're pretty much everywhere, local tackle shop wise.
Yes, I think.
Yeah, I think
most
you're
of the-
Longfin, Performance, Save On.
Not the
Not
longfin
longfin.
yet.
Oh, not yet.
Eric, we're there, buddy. Tom, hello.
Please, Eric.
Fisherman's Access. Are you guys there?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you're pretty much everywhere except the Longfin right now.
Yeah.
I mean, locally to where we're in SoCal right here.
Yeah. And
Okay.
obviously, back east, the bass is that's a
Island Tackle
Big.
has the product.
Okay, great.
Yep. Who?
Hogan's Ken's has the product.
Great.
Obviously, Mark and Save On are
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
Eric's Tackle. I know we're missing some. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry because I'm going to get
That's
smacked.
that's your job, Ben.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking as fast as I can think. Oh, East County Bait and Tackle.
Of course, yeah. They've been with me from the early
that's
days.
cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
early days.
Those guys kill it.
Great. Yeah, well, everyone go buy an Irod, dude. Help support Matt. He's doing something cool. Stay tuned for more stuff to come out, and thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you.
See ya.